Something inside me and I'm sharing it. I'm just cruising for clarity with a therapist. Hey, let me roll down the window. Hosted by Francisco Castillo. Hey, yeah, you deserve to be heard. Explore what you feel, no stress or concern. Hey, something inside me and I'm sharing it. I'm just cruising for clarity with a therapist. Let's go.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Cruisin for Clarity. I'm really glad you're here. Whether you're crawling through traffic with the windows down and the noise of the world swirling outside your car, or walking your usual neighborhood loop with earbuds in and a little space to breathe, or maybe you're just at home, coffee or tea in hand, the day finally quiet. Thank you for showing up. This podcast isn't about perfection. It's not about productivity or performance. It's about presence. It's about carving out moments to look at what's really going on underneath the surface of our lives, especially in the parts we don't often slow down to examine. And today, we're looking at something we think we understand, something that shows up in songs, movies, vows, and text messages, something we toss around with ease and yet so often struggle to practice when it actually matters. We're talking about love, not the capital R romantic kind that plays well in Hollywood montages, but the day-to-day kind, the kind that lives in our kitchens, in our inboxes, in the tension of unanswered questions, and in the comfort of ordinary presence. The kind of love that either deepens over time or drifts quietly into something we used to feel but can't quite hold anymore. And here's the truth, the uncomfortable truth that most of us have experienced at some point. Saying I love you isn't enough. It never has been. We want to believe those words are a finish line, that if we say them often, enough, or at the right moments, they'll do all the work of holding our relationships together. But love, as a word, is only as strong as the action that supports it. Without that, it starts to fade. And sometimes we don't even notice it's gone until we're standing in the silence wondering what happened. So today I want to tell you a few stories of what happens when love is spoken often but not always shown, and what it takes to start showing up again in the ways that matter. Let me start with someone I know well, and we will call him Jake. Jake and I go way back. We met in high school, and even then he was unusually open for a teenage guy. He wasn't afraid to tell you how he felt. He was the kind of friend who hugged you goodbye, who checked in after hard conversations, who didn't shy away from saying, I love you, and meaning it. That emotional fluency made him stand out. Years later, he met someone and fell hard. And when he talked about her, it was different, softer, more rooted. He was doing all the things we're taught to do. He said, I love you daily, texted regularly, made sweet gestures, remembered anniversaries. He wasn't half in, he was showing up. And still, it fell apart. It wasn't one thing. There was no dramatic betrayal or major fallout, just a slow dimming. Conversations started to feel shorter, less connected. Their humor stopped syncing up. There was more silence between them, long stretches where nothing felt wrong, but nothing felt right either. Eventually, she told him she couldn't do it anymore. Jake was stunned, not just heartbroken, but confused. I told her I loved her every day, he kept repeating. She knew. She had to know. But the thing is, she didn't feel it. Not because he didn't mean it, but because the way he expressed love didn't translate into the kind of presence she needed. Jake was great at declaring love, but in the quiet moments, the messy ones, he sometimes pulled back. He didn't always notice when her tone changed. When she was overwhelmed, he'd try to fix it with logic instead of sitting in it with her. When she needed to feel safe emotionally, he offered reassurance, but not attunement. It wasn't about bad intentions. It was about mismatched delivery. She didn't want more I love you texts. She wanted him to look up from his phone and really see her when she walked into a room. She wanted to feel chosen, not just acknowledged. What Jake missed, and what so many of us miss, is that love has to be experienced, not just announced. It has to be felt in the body. It needs texture, weight, frequency, and that only comes from the way we move through someone else's world. Day by day, there's something I say to clients all the time, something that tends to get a laugh at first, but it lands in a deeper place. Saying I love you is like signing a marriage license. It's a commitment, a marker, a moment of clarity and intention, but it's not a maintenance plan. You wouldn't sign your marriage certificate, frame it on the wall, and then assume the relationship will run itself from there. That would be ridiculous. But emotionally, we do exactly that. We say the words, we make the declarations, we lean into the early connection, and then slowly we stop doing the things that made it feel safe in the first place. Love, when it's not consistently nourished, starts to feel like a ceremony we remember, not a reality we live in. It needs upkeep, not just when things feel off, but especially when they don't, because love doesn't die in conflict, it dies in complacency, in the subtle moments when someone feels like they're trying to get your attention and you don't even notice they're reaching out. That brings me to Emily and Mike. From the outside, they were solid, married, stable jobs, a house, a rhythm, no big drama, no chaos. They told each other, I love you regularly. They texted throughout the day. They took vacations, posted anniversary pictures, remembered birthdays. But inside their relationship, something had gone quiet. Not violent, not dramatic, just quiet, distant. When they sat in my office, it was like watching two people who used to finish each other's sentences now struggle to look each other in the eye. I don't know what more I can do, Mike said. I tell her I love her. I'm not mean. I'm not absent. I'm here. And Emily softly replied, you say it, but I don't feel it anymore. What she meant was this: Mike was present in the routine, but absent in the intimacy. He showed up to dinner, but not to conversation. He checked boxes, but not pulses. He thought being dependable was the same as being emotionally engaged. And Emily, she didn't want a hero. She didn't want perfection. She just wanted to feel like she was still being chosen, still being noticed. So now we stripped everything back. No grand gestures, no dramatic interventions. Just one question. What's one small, repeatable act of love you can give each other that asks nothing in return? Mike started putting out her favorite coffee mug in the mornings. Emily started making space for Mike's stories, really listening, even when she was tired. Not every day, not perfectly, but consistently. And the shift wasn't immediate. There were still off days, still distance sometimes. But gradually, the fog started to lift. They touched more, laughed more, found tiny pockets of closeness that had once come easily but had become rare. One day, after a particularly unremarkable but peaceful session, Emily looked at him and said, "This feels like us again." And it did. Not because they went back to who they were, but because they started moving forward with attention. So before we close today, I want to offer something. Not a checklist, not a formula, just some questions. Think of one person in your life, someone you care about deeply, someone you say you love. Now ask yourself gently, without judgment, have they felt that love lately? Not heard it. Felt it. Have you shown up for them in the ways that matter to them, not just the ways that come easily to you? Have you paused long enough to remember the little things? Have you responded to the quiet bids for attention they've been offering without words? Maybe they're not asking for anything big. Maybe they just need to feel chosen. Maybe they want to know that when they talk, you're not half listening. That when they withdraw, you'll check in. That when they're carrying more than they can hold, you'll show up with the unspoken knowing. You're not alone. Because love, real love, is rarely dramatic. It's rarely cinematic. It's the note on the fridge, the follow-up question the next day, the text that says, I remembered. The moment you pause what you're doing just to listen. The act of staying, especially when it would be easier to drift. It's the repetition that builds trust. It's the pattern that becomes safety. It's the doing that gives the words meaning. We don't need to love louder. We need to love better, more patiently, more deliberately, more consistently. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for sitting in the stillness with me, for reflecting, for being brave enough to ask yourself hard questions with a soft heart. Your willingness to go deeper without needing perfection is everything. It means you're not just trying to say the right things. You're trying to become someone whose love is felt. And that's the kind of work that changes not just relationships, but lives. So until next time, keep doing the small things that build big love. And as always, keep cruising toward clarity.
Stay tuned in, I hope you're coming back. A place you can grow, vibe out and relax. Time to get clarity, time to find joy. Find your inner self, discover and explore. Ayy, yeah, cruising for clarity with a therapist.